Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Final Assessment podcast about evil. I'm Jean.
I'm Victoria.
Today, Season 2, Episode 9. Very creative. U is for UFO.
They weren't really creative on any of them, but yeah.
Well,
the UFO
but this one is really like, A is for ABC.
It's just weird because, it's all about the monsters and demons and angels, and then you're going to pop a UFO up in here?
Well, there are some people that believe that what we imagine as extraterrestrials are, that the perception of angels and demons and things like that are actually interfaces with extraterrestrials.
Oh.
I try to give everything a fair shake, and I've heard some of these theories, and they're not the wildest things I've ever heard.
Okay.
They square up a lot of things. People have done a lot of work squaring things up with accounts in the Bible.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm not going to say what I believe 100% one way or the other, because I have a lot of different beliefs about a lot of different things. But I will say some of the stuff that I've heard people explain where they square up accounts in the Old Testament of things, like visions of angels and stuff, with modern accounts of UFO sightings. They make a lot more sense to me than some of the other more tenuous connections that more mainstream branches of Christianity make. So,
I've just never heard the Bible taken into a UFO contact.
I'll give you some stuff to read up on because it's very interesting. Okay, so the dog is upset because there's things on its usual bed. And, oh man, he is giving me a dirty look. Okay.
He pops his head up and there's hair everywhere.
Yeah. Are you okay, buddy?
He's really furry, so...
Okay, well, he's gonna...
Oh, there he goes. He's fine.
Okay, he's got... Okay, so yes, no, it's some interesting stuff.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
You should. It's interesting. If nothing else, it's an interesting topic of conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a bunch of different UFO stories, and some of them I seriously believe. I love the stories. Like, there's one story that's been very intriguing for me.
Is it the fire in the sky?
No, I mean, I've heard about that one. I'm like, whatever.
I like that one.
There was a guy going up in a blimp, and it could only take one, I guess, on the weight and stuff. I'll have to figure out exactly.
That sounds more like a hot air balloon.
And people kept seeing somebody else, and I don't know. I'll have to listen to the story again and tell it to you, because it's very interesting the way it happens. Mm-hmm. And there was no other explanations that they could find for it. It was weird.
Yeah. I don't know. If the church is interested in a thing, then you should automatically be like,
Yeah, because that means something angel demon-y is involved.
Angel demon. Well, now we'll get to it. They do explain here why they're approaching the integration of traditional faith conceptions with modern UFO conceptions. They're taking a different approach than the ones I have been familiar with in the past. But it's all the same. It's a big universe, man. I mean, it's a big universe. And
it wouldn't be surprising if there's other civilizations out there. And
if you are a person who believes in the Bible or Christianity or any of the Abrahamic religions, but in specific, we're talking about Christianity here. There's nothing to say in the Bible that this is the only world that was created. I mean, obviously, you can take as given, if this is your belief system, that God created the universe, but nobody said he just created this planet. There's nothing in the Bible that says he just created, this is the only one.
Exactly. Yep.
They have a slightly different take on it, so we'll talk about it when we get to that. We open up with our trio interviewing a fighter pilot, describing her UFO encounter. They ask her, do you think this was an angel? She's like, no, it was a UAS. Whatever the acronym was, like an unmanned, unaccounted for thing in the sky. The reason she doesn't believe it was one of our planes or something, it could also have been an angel by this description, right? Like, consider everything, like, what do we know about angels? Not much,
Except for the folklore out there of them.
But she says basically it was moving at Mach 10, and there was no sonic boom. So how is that? That causes a lot of questions.
Yeah, because she says it was like, it felt peaceful, no sonic boom and all that.
This is interesting because the sonic boom is a function of the air around the object, not the object itself. So it's moving through the air in such a way that it's not interacting with the air.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother can of worms. Apparently, she is not the only person in the diocese or the parish who has had a similar experience that they have reported to the church. So that's why the church is kind of like, okay, I guess we got to look at it now. I guess we got to deal with it. Ben goes on this close encounters forum, discovers a person named Inertia Negation 17 at Syracuse. This person also believes that they saw something. Meantime, Andy and Kristen are going through therapy with Kurt. Now, Kurt gets out in front of this. He's like, look, I see Kristen individually. This is part of my treatment of her. I'm not treating you as a couple.
Yeah.
You're here as her husband, and she is still my patient, Andy is concerned about Kristen's changes, and they talk about the scars and
the temper, the anger, the self-harm.
The self-harm, and Kurt is like a deer in the headlights. He's like, the what? The who? What? Huh? Wait, what? Video? What?
You're almost like, have you been treating her long? I mean, but she says she feels empowered.
Yeah. We're going to come back to this in a few episodes, but she does say she owns her changes. She says how she wants the girls to be. She says this for Kurt's benefit because she looks at him very pointedly. She's like, it puts her in a proactive position to face down threats. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what you would want your therapist to do. Yeah. So Kurt is like, have the girls seen the video? Cut to Cheryl showing the girls the video.
And man, the girls are proud of their mama.
She's trending for kicking this guy's ass. It's great. I mean, everybody's dealt with an asshole in the grocery store. And their thoughts go through your head.
I know, but next time I am so ready to grab that bag of French fries and hit them.
But see, this is real life, so you will get arrested.
You'll bail me out?
Of course, that's what the fund is for. So Kristen, she's interviewing the colonel. The pilot's a captain. The colonel she is interviewing is the pilot's immediate commander. I guess that's the correct terminology. Yeah. Colonel's being typical military deflection. I don't disagree with her. The facts disagree with her. None of this is my opinion. I'm just giving you the facts, ma'am. Congo Run has come back. They apparently launched a broadband satellite at this time, supposedly.
Yep.
Back in the day, when people would spot something, they'd be like, oh, it's a weather balloon. Nowadays, it's like, oh, it's a drone. It's somebody's private drone.
I mean, there's always something out there to think.
Something's delivering a burrito or whatever. So Ben goes to Syracuse to meet the contact, and he sees this old guy walking towards him with, tweed jacket and the briefcase and the beard, and he's walking up to him. He's like, hey, it's me, Ben Shakir. And the professor's like, Zoop, don't even know who you are.
He didn't even talk to Ben. It was like he didn't even see Ben.
He didn't even look in his direction. But then this young girl calls us from behind him, hey.
I thought you'd be older.
Oh, you'd be older. And Ben somehow resists the temptation to say, yeah, me too. This is an amazing exchange because she thinks she saw something alien. She's very specific about it was like due to the acceleration. It was like at least Mach 7 and the way it moved. And she's describing it like an actual person who is familiar with the way things are supposed to move in the air and things.
Yep.
And so she sounds very believable. And then she's like, but it gave me a good feeling.
Yes.
Just kind of like similar to a
peaceful
pilot.
Feeling.
Yeah. And then she's like, but I did smoke a ton of weed that night. So, like, wait a minute, what?
I mean...
And she does it because she's like, I did smoke a ton of weed, and I understand that could affect my judgment, but I know what I saw. She's just like, I smoked a bunch of weed, shrug, rides off on her bike. I'm like, wait, what?
I mean, I would just like to say I've never had that experience before.
Anyway, so David is...
trying to have quiet time.
He's working, he's trying to reset, just like Sister Andrea told him to, kind of reset his brain, and there's a knock at the door. And it's fucking Leland. He's like,
I need help. Nope, go get your ass eaten by the devil, sorry.
They keep this storyline deliciously vague about what exactly is going on.
Yes.
But apparently Leland was at home wearing David's rosary as a joke, as you do. Yeah.
And it attacked him.
Well, he said something attacked him, and he draws a picture of it, and it looks familiar to us, and then David confirms, after Leland leaves, that it is, in fact, the angel that we remember from episode 2, was it?
I think so, yeah.
So, David's like, oh, and now an angel is attacking Leland. Awesome. Actually, you know what? Awesome. That's, yes.
That's what we need.
That's what we need, actually. In the meantime, Leland is visiting his therapist. His therapist that looks like the goat, like Baphomet or whatever.
It's like completely white room.
What? Okay, when we get to this point, I'm going to have a question about this therapist. This show is fucking with me. I think the first watch through, you're just kind of basking in the newness of it. And the second watch through, you're like, wait a minute, wait, what? Okay, this therapist was one of those moments. But anyway, Leland's like, I was able to convince David that I'm weak and I need an exorcism. And the therapist is like, do you secretly want an exorcism? Is that why you're so convincing? And Leland's like, I'm offended. This doesn't feel, I mean, we're supposed to buy this as like a therapist-patient power struggle. We don't know yet. I know who he is, but we don't know yet anything about the manager that Leland keeps talking about with the therapist.
Yeah.
But apparently Leland is supposed to be getting some blood from somewhere for some purpose.
Yes.
And the therapist is like, you're talking a tough game, but I don't see this blood you're supposed to have. And Leland's like, okay, that's fine. I will take care of it. It will be fine. So, in the meantime, Kristen is watching some videos on YouTube for various UFO witnesses. And the girls are watching Kristen kicking everybody's ass on YouTube.
Yeah.
Andy wants to have this family talk, right, about the way things are going to be going forward.
Yes.
They have to talk to the girls about watching the video. And they say, Mom kicked ass. Like, don't say ass. I'm like, ass is the least
of your worries right with now. Those children, yes.
But he's going back to Colorado to shut down the business. And one of the girls is like, are we Mormons now? And he's like, no, we're just...
I know, it's like, why does she think they're Mormons? Because he's shutting down the business.
Because he says something about we're going to start eating dinner together.
And yeah.
Like, wait, no, he's like, no, we're just going to eat dinner together. I'm like, what?
Like a family.
Because somebody was like, well, is Grandma going to take care of us? They're like, yeah, but maybe Lynn will do some more too, Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely trying to squeeze Cheryl out. Like, that cat's out of the bag.
But, I mean, when Mama's hanging out in the shed with a doll and candles and burning money for it, there's a little bit of a problem.
I've
seen her burn $3 for this doll. What is this doll doing for her?
I don't think they were ones either. They were tens, weren't they? I'm assuming she's burning money for this weird-ass thing. That's how she makes her money. Does she have a job? We never see her at work.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, not unless you count working for Leland, but...
I don't think that counts. I don't know how you report that on your 1040. Anyway. Okay.
Working for devil worker.
Working for the wee little devil man. So that's the plan going forward. I don't know his job at REI panned out yet or what. But anyway, so Ben comes over. And he's like, look, I think I was wrong about whatever is going on with this UFO. And Kristen's like, I was too. Well, they were both wrong about their initial assumptions. Ben did find out there had been no Congo-run satellite launch.
Yep.
And he believes it was the pilot. There's nothing about her that would indicate that she would make things up.
Yeah.
She has a clean record. She's never seen things that weren't there, anything like that.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
Yeah, so everything's pointing in this being an actual sighting of something unexplainable that's,
Dum, dum, dum.
Dum, dum, dum. Okay, so anyway, David, again, I guess he's using Gregorian chants to get reset now. He's seen a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
And then we hear a noise, and it sounds like bot flies, like from the silent monastery.
Yeah.
That noise they kept hearing. I was like, it sounds like that.
Yeah.
But it's coming from his computer.
Yep.
He brings it to Ben in a little bit, and Ben also hears it. So It's not just David hallucinating. In the meantime, they interview the other pilots. There are 2 other pilots that were in the air with the one captain at the time of the sighting. One of them is like, yeah, no, we didn't see anything. And the other one, you can tell he's got something else to say. But
we saw something, but I can't talk.
Yeah. So Ben manages to pull him aside and slip him his email.
Yes.
And so this is where he's like, I need you, Ben. I need you to look at my laptop. There's bot flies in it or whatever. Ben opens it up, and on the processor, I think it looks like the processor, there's a pentagram. Hey, what's that? Where'd that come from? How'd that get there? While Ben is doing all this, he gets an anonymous email with a video and a password. Okay, wait. So you want him to watch this video that's locked down. It's encrypted, whatever. Okay, I get that. And there's the password. The password is in the same email as the video. So if anybody is intercepting this email...
yeah, they all get it.
Everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it.
Okay. Anyway, Cheryl, yes, she's burning her money. There's a knock at the door. She goes back and forth between being a good grandmother and being a total bitch because she's like, get your own dinner. It's my time.
Yeah.
Wow.
She goes to see Leland.
So, yeah, it's Leland. She slams the door. She opens the door. It's Leland. She slams it in his face. And he tells her, he's like, look, can I get some of your blood?
I mean, who in the world asks for somebody's blood, but okay.
And she's like, solve your own problems. Slam. Goodbye, Leland. Forever, you asshole.
I mean, who does that? I have never opened up my door and somebody been like, can I have some of your blood?
Well, you don't date demons that you know of. That you know of. Yeah, you know. That you know of. Some of them I would not be surprised. But anyway.
Now I'm just scared. I feel like I should run.
You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, our trio is at the church. They're watching this anonymous video that Ben was sent. Who knows what this thing is, you know?
Looks like a flying object.
It looks like a flying object that is not a normal flying object. Well, Kristen comes into the room because everybody's watching this video where the Monsignor's there and David and Ben are there and a bunch of other people are there. And Kristen's like, what's happening? Monsignor's like, a meeting. Oh my God.
The Monsignor just gets like, he seems like so prim and proper and this is how we do it. And then other times he seems like such an ass.
I mean, those aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
Okay.
We get a little more information about the pilot. Said that after this experience, her blood pressure had lowered. I guess she'd had hypertension or whatever, and it was gone. And so it wasn't just, oh, I feel better. There were physical proof that something positive happened to her.
Yeah.
They're doing this weird smelling experiment because she said she smelled something too. So they're doing this smelling experiment. They have this machine and these different nose pieces that you put on, and they turn these different dials, and it makes these different smells. And so she would be able to identify what it was she smelled. And I guess it's random smells except for the one that they know UFOs smell like, I guess.
We have no clue what the smells were until the very end.
Yeah. This is the interesting discussion here. It starts as an interesting discussion. It gets sidetracked into a conflict that we don't need to have.
Yeah.
You know, so they're like, if we find out that there is life out there in the universe, what does that do to the concept of original sin? You know, are these other creatures free of it? I'm like, don't get me started, because you're taking the story of the Garden of Eden very, very literally.
Yeah.
That's the only way that your understanding here makes sense. But the other side of this is like, okay, would we be missionaries? I'm like, again, you're centering yourself. But
yeah.
Whatever. Or maybe they're the missionaries. You don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But he says the missionaries, and he starts analogizing it because he's like, you know, we've done this before. And Kristen's like, well, yeah, you see how great Columbus worked out. I'm like, and then they start getting into it.
Yeah.
And this guy from the church, he's originally from Brooklyn, which he makes a joke about, but he's from the Vatican. And so they start, he's like, getting into it. I'm like, God, guys, just stop it. We don't.
Yeah.
If you're not going to get into it and have the whole argument, don't tease us. Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stop the argument halfway through.
Yeah.
You're not done. I need to see the end.
But Laura saves the day because she's at school bragging about Kristen knocking some dude out in the grocery store, and Kristen has to go to school to take care of this because she was like, that's my mom in the video, and her teacher's like, no, it isn't. And Laura called her a fucking liar. She was like, she gets there, and the principal, the mother superior, or the headmistress, whatever, she's like, no, she didn't just call her a liar. She used the F word.
And then Kristen's like, yeah, well, it is me in the video.
Yeah.
She had a right to call the teacher that.
I mean,
yeah, and they look shocked that it's Kristen in the video. I'm like, why didn't you just look at the video to see?
You
Like,
see
hello.
Okay. They come to the conclusion, Ben and David, that Leland has somehow hacked David's computer, and they check out what he has from his spying session on Leland. So clearly, it's a setup.
Yes.
Leland has laid down on his couch and put his computer on his belly. You can see it bobbing back and forth with his breath, and he starts getting weird and fidgety. And they're like, obviously, this is a stupid setup.
Which makes sense.
Okay. When they say hacked, when I hear somebody say, oh, yeah, you hacked a thing, I think you used your voodoo to get through back doors and firewalls, and you got into their software. This is an actual physical part of the computer.
Yeah.
I think it's the processor. I'm not great with computer parts, but I think it was the processor. And Leland had to have
some kind of know-how.
He had to have time with David's computer. I wouldn't call that hacking the computer either.
No.
I would call that sabotaging the computer. But,
yes.
So Ben gets this idea to fuck with Leland back. So he's going to record a loop of David doing various things around his apartment, and then he's going to feed it into this feed that Leland has, and it's going to loop. Like, Leland's going to figure that out in like 10 minutes. Oh. But, yeah.
We'll see.
But that's all he has access to. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And then, so David's like, if we're doing this to Leland, how do we know he's not doing this to us? I'm like, because you never see him do the same thing twice. Like, every time you've looked at it, he's doing something else wild.
Yeah.
But it's enough to make Ben be like, don't know. But they just kind of leave it there. You know?
Yeah.
We get a very X-Files type scene here. Kristen goes out to her car, and this guy pulls in behind her, blocks her in. She's like, I gotta go.
Excuse me.
This guy, his name is Louder Milk.
I heard that name and I was like,
Louder Milk.
Did they have a hard time figuring out a name for him? I mean, did this one just drop out of the sky?
Yeah. So this Louder Milk guy, he's like, wait a minute. She starts talking to him. He's like, wait, it's 18 seconds. And you're like, 18 seconds to what? And he starts counting down, and the train goes by overhead. He's like, oh, it's early today. Then he starts talking.
Yes.
Basically, they mulder her because he's like, hey, look, that UFO thing, yeah, no, that's a Russian drone. But we can't tell anybody about it, so just like ixnay on the Ondre.
Stop investigating
it. I never understand when they do this. They always have all this intrigue and spy stuff. And like, this is my problem with the X-Files. I love the X-Files. You know, the X-Files is one of my favorite shows of all times, but it would frustrate me because sometimes they would have these clandestine conversations about things. And you're like, why does any of this have any significance? You're just saying words that don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, this thing, it's a Russian drone. I'm like, are you under the impression that nobody else has figured this out? Why are we having this conversation? What?
Yeah.
So, Kristen, obviously they're bullshitting you because they don't want you to talk about this.
Yeah. But I think Kristen's on to that, too.
Yeah, I think she is, too. She catches up with David, and her and David have one of their moments because she's talking about how much she hates people. Like, yeah.
Feel ya, honey.
Well, it's a nice conversation because then David tells us a little bit more about his parents. Well, we met David's father previously.
Yes, we did.
And his father...
Pretty crazy and
well,
cool.
And like David says, he wanted art and sex. I don't know how he ended up with David's mother, who was very church-going. He's always going to mass and praying. So David started following his father's footsteps. And then this experience with Julia... He found that way of life didn't really have any explanations for him that his mother's way of life did. You think you could have some great warm conclusion or something, and he basically comes to, yeah, my mother went to church and prayed all the time. She knew people are bad.
Yeah.
Like, people suck.
Yep.
All you can do is forgive them. I'm like, I mean, you can. And you don't have to. I mean, I know you're supposed to, but she does ask him,
why are you going to be a priest? Yeah. You're a month away from ordination.
Don't be a priest. At home, Kristen is apologizing to Andy for not being herself. Andy Schmandy, he's just making things complicated. I'm just, okay. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, Asha, who is this young woman Ben believed was going to be a professor at Syracuse, her and the captain at the church, and when Kristen has explained, she's made a report about this encounter with Louder Milk, about the Russian drone. And they are greeted by Monsignor by this man named Victor LeConte from Rome.
Vatican Secret Service.
Vatican Secret Service. I guess. I don't know. I guess they.
That's what they take. That's what they like end up saying. So you're from the Secret Service.
They call it the entity. Yeah. Which I'm like, that sounds evil.
Yeah, that does sound bad.
Like, again, we're doing all this weird Cold War spy stuff because they're going to have a trip to Rome to hash all this out and do more investigations. And the captain and Asha are coming, and you just got to sign these confidentiality forms. And LeConte has his briefcase open, and there's a strategically placed RSM pamphlet there.
Yes.
And David sees it. He's like, you wanted me to see that. You wanted me to ask you about that. You're investigating them, aren't you? Like, I know what you're doing, dude. And LeConte's like, no, I don't know what you mean.
And the Vatican trip gets canceled the next day.
Yes.
After they've signed the confidentiality statement. So I wonder if that means they can't talk about the UFO.
That's what the trick was. Yeah, like I said, I like a lot of this alien conspiracy stuff, but I really hate the intrigue part of it because it never makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like
you're always left like, huh.
Why did you do all that? You didn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
You know what you do? And we know what to do with this. You take these people into a room and you say, look, it's really simple. If you talk to anybody about this, everything you love is going away. You're losing your toenails one by one. Whatever. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, you're going to shut the fuck up? Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you think you're going to go out there and tell anybody about this conversation, same thing's going to happen. So Leland's with his therapist, okay? And he's like, hey, look, I got the blood. And his therapist is like, what'd you go to Piggly Wiggly and get something from the butcher shop? And he's like, no, it's human blood. Yours! And he just lops off this goat's head. And then he gets crazy with it. He's like, we're going to see what the manager says. You know, who's stronger, the eater or the eaten? And he's smearing the blood all over his face. And he's yelling at the beheaded head. It's a wild scene.
It's crazy.
Okay, question. All right, he says human blood. This fucking thing's a goat.
Yes, it is.
That's not human blood.
No, it's not.
And we know that's not human blood because in the next scene or two, he's cooking it at home. He's cooking his therapist, and he asks Cheryl if she would like some goat curry.
Yes, he does.
And this is a clear goat leg sticking up
out of the pot.
Which is not how you make goat curry, by the way.
I don't know how to make anything goat. I don't want to eat goat.
This was going to feed a family of 10 for a year.
Yeah,
that's a big goat.
It was a big goat.
And Leland's not a big guy. I mean, that's a lot for him to eat. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. So, where are we here? Okay. This is the next day. David is meeting with LeConte again. He finds out that Asha and the captain have retracted. And David's like, well, you got the video. And LeConte's like, yeah, but I need the eyewitness statements, and I don't have those now.
So it's over.
And so it's over.
All that work for nada.
And then he basically tells David this RSM thing, because David's like, but you're investigating RSM. And LeConte's like, stay away from RSM. What?
Doom, doom, doom.
Okay, yes, you know what? I guess you don't know any psychology, because you know how to get a naturally curious person to do a thing? Tell them not to do
it. Yeah.
So is this on purpose? Do they want David to look into it?
I think so.
David knows what they're doing.
Yes.
I think he knows what they're doing, but I don't know. He wants the whole story. Why are they doing this? Okay, you have this thing, the entity, and you're the Catholic Church, and you're this huge ancient beast. I don't understand why we're being like this. We're playing office politics with this stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
this feels so petty.
Yeah, but it kind of feels like the Vatican too.
I guess so.
I mean, when you think about it,
they do things. Yeah, that's for sure. You know, what was the price? What was the price that Asha and the captain? What was the price of their soul for Asha?
The college kid gets to go to MIT free, like a free ride, and then the pilot got to go back to work.
She got to fly again. That's all she wanted.
Yeah. I would have been asking for a lot more.
I mean, I guess so. Now, we get to figure out something about this smelly machine, because they're getting drunk. The three of them are getting drunk in David's little loft, and they're playing with the smell machine. find out Kristen saw something weird while she was climbing at Yosemite one time.
Yep.
And we also find out that, according to the Vatican, the UFO smells like cotton candy.
Yep, that was the smell that the pilot picked out.
Whatever psychology LeConte was doing on David has worked, because now he announces that I am sick of waiting for the church. We're going after RSM. And Kristen and Ben are like, yeah, all right, whatever.
I mean, they've been talking about the fertility clinic since the first season, correct?
Right at the end of the first season.
So, I mean, it's about time for them to get into that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. So Cheryl ends up at Leland's apartment because she's decided to give in and give her some blood. She is really such a pushover.
She is so wishy-washy.
And we're going to see this in the next few episodes. He's like, never mind, I don't need it anymore.
But you can come in and eat goat with me.
Goat curry.
And she's like, okay.
But I don't like cilantro. I'm like, girl.
Yeah.
I knew there was something wrong with you. I have the soap thing. I have the weird version of this. Where, like, if I eat, like, cilantro in normal amounts.
It's fine.
It's fine. If you put, like, a little too much in. Which to me is like, it's a lot. But you put, like, if I eat a little bit of cilantro, it's fine. I love it. And I love the taste, and it tastes like cilantro. But it's like there's some level at which you put in, like, a little bit more, and it tastes like soap to me.
Huh.
It's weird.
Anyway. I've never had that.
Well, you don't have the gene. I have the gene. Oh, sorry. Anyway, we're way off topic. Daryl doesn't like cilantro.
Okay, well.
And yeah, like, okay, so the therapist, I mean, my instinct says, okay, I know we get information later about things, but the goat, my understanding is that maybe other people see the Baphomet thing as a person, like it can disguise itself as a person so it can walk down the street, because otherwise,
yeah,
anywhere it goes, people will be like, there's a 6-foot-tall goat walking down the street.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not even a goat, it's a demon, but if you have to describe it in normal Earth terms, it's a goat. So this doesn't count as human blood.
I mean, I don't know what it counts as. And I kind of wonder if Leland did that just to try to coerce Cheryl back.
I don't.
Because he was cooking before she showed up.
I don't know. This Leland Cheryl business it almost makes less and less sense as this season goes on. I'm never sure exactly what Cheryl is, because they seem to move around with her a lot. But I always got the sense of the way they told the story in the beginning. I know it feels like they pulled a fast one, because it feels like in the first part of it,
she was great.
She was kind of wild or whatever, but she was essentially a good person.
Yes.
And I was wondering, like, are we to believe that she was always like this, or are we to believe that once she got with Leland and he kind of corrupted her?
I feel like Leland corrupted her, because I felt like she was the same probably her whole life, a little crazy and wild. And then she started dating Leland, and it was like a switch flipped or something.
But she has that line about, you're not the first demon I've dated or whatever.
It makes me wonder, but does she just mean it as in you're not the first asshole I've dated?
I mean, but she knows he's a demon, though.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, she seemed good to start with. And now you see the demon.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder if they thought they were gonna go in the direction of she was just kind of a normal, if somewhat kind of wild, cool grandma type, and then Leland kind of corrupted her. If that was the original direction, then they said, no, let's do something else.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. Yeah.
I don't know. Guess we'll never find out, though. Damn. Anyway. All right. So that is it for season 2, episode 9.
Yes.
We'll be back next week with episode 10.
Yes, we will.
In the meantime, you can check out our other podcasts, Deconstructing the Dark Passenger, which is a podcast about all things Dexter. We're up to season 3. We're going to be going into season 4. And then we're going to have a little break before Resurrection season 2 starts, because we're going to do that as it comes out.
Yes.
Also, check out our movie podcast, Outside Food and Drink. We usually do themes that are germane to the month or the season or whatever. We have, Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we have cosmic horror movies for January, and we have some kind of tongue-in-cheek movies for April, and things like May is Giallo month. We're doing some classic Giallo movies for May. We're going to have all that information in our show notes.
And we'll have the next couple months going up soon.
We'll have everything. Yeah, we're going to get out the website updated again and everything. And follow us on our socials. Drop us a line. Like I said, I'd love to argue UFOs and theology with anybody. So let's do it. Until next week, we talk about episode 10.
Later.
Later.